What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Triple Play Fantasy YouTube channel. On this episode, what we're going to do is have a little bit of fun here. And we are going to do a 2022 Detroit Lions mock draft and a real mock draft. So, what we're going to work on and what we're going to kind of go through is the Detroit Lions. We're going to use PFF's draft mock board and basically just go through we'll say 6 rounds. We're going to go through 6 rounds and just kind of address needs and talk about where we would go. Keep it simple. So, if you're a Lions fan, we're going to just talk about what your team could use, and I'm going to just have the board up, and we're going to kind of go through there. Now, when we talk about the Lions, I think that the Lions are in a prime spot to build a contending team. They have a great offensive line. They have great running back and DeAndre Swift, top 5 running back in the league. They have a better receiving crew we'll talk about. And then they also have they have a great tight end. So when we're looking at weapons, I think that they have a good weapon base. The biggest thing is they need a quarterback. So we're going to get into that. Obviously, you can see the cover. But when we're thinking of like where are they going to go in this draft, I think that's the question. And I think what we have to really talk about first is team needs. So when we're looking at team needs here, what do they need the most? So if we're going to look at and just kind of talk about it and go through it, first they need a quarterback and they need an edge rusher. So we know that they're definitely going to be in the market for an edge rusher. After that, they need some linebacking help on the outside, the inside, and a cornerback help. They definitely need those. They need a running back. They need a maybe committee, like late round pick. Wide receiver, we'll talk about. They have DJ Chark there now, and these other guys. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a great pick last year. So maybe they go there, and then they just really need to fill out. Maybe some offensive line help, some center help. But really, it comes down to the 2 positions that we're going to talk about, quarterback and edge, right? Like those are the 2 big ones. And will they go there? And I think that is the question mark. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen right now, and what we're going to go through is the PFF. If you haven't used this before, it's extremely addicting. So if you're a football fan, it's there. We're going to go through 6 rounds as the Lions, and we're going to go through there. Just start it. We'll go quick. So first off the board goes Aiden Hutchinson to the Jaguars, which is probably what's going to happen. Now, when they're on the clock here, realistically, they could go a lot of directions. We said they needed an edge rusher. They can get Kayvon Thibodeau, who I think is severely underrated, especially now because he's getting kind of crapped on out there for no reason at all. They have Derek Stingley on the board. They do need cornerback help as well. Like they could take another cornerback help. Hamilton is one of the best there. And in their tackles, which I don't think they really need to go there. So for me, this really comes down to Thibodeau or Malik Willis, quarterback out of Liberty. And do they take that plunge? Now, they were at the Senior Bowl, so they did coach him, so they have an inside track. They just met with him, so there is that as well. So they have that in the background. And just for the sake of this mock, I'm going to say they go the Malik Willis. I know there's a lot of people out there that might not like that deal, but if you need where they're at their position, they have everything but the quarterback. Jared Goff is not the answer. And if Malik can come in there and be that playmaking quarterback that we'd see, and kind of transform this, I understand it. Now, I know that they have 2 picks. They have the 32 and the 34 at the end of the first and the beginning of the second. So they could take a quarterback there. But in my opinion, if you're looking at Corral and Howell and these other quarterbacks at the end, Kenny Pickett and those guys, do they make that big of a difference in Jared Goff? I don't know, but I know Malik Willis could be a game changer. Now, it's a risk, okay, but the Lions need something infused with talent. So I'm going to take Malik Willis at the 102 in that area. So as you kind of go through the mock, we'll let the board just follow us. Remember, this is not predetermined. I'm just going to walk you through the picks. Now, see, and this is what we're talking about. Howell is still there. So this is where would you take Thibodeau with the 2nd pick and then take a guy like Howell at the end? I think that's a perfect strategy. I think that might be something that they do. But if we go in this scenario where we take Willis, other guys on the board, Jalen Petrie, who I like from Baylor, Sky Moore is there, maybe sure up the wide receiver spot. But the guy that I'm going to take is Boy Mafin. Now, when we look at him, he's a riser. He's a high rush, passing rushing grade. He's ascending the player who possesses one of the best get-offs. That's what they talked about on PFF. He's got great tape. And I think that with that edge rusher, you can grab him and you would be very set. If Malik hits and in him set, I think that would be a great pick there. So I'm going to take Boy Mafin there from Minnesota. And then I'm going to just shore up that cornerback spot and go Jalen Petrie, cornerback from Baylor, 6'1", 187, big kid. He led all defensive backs with 47 stops in that offense playing slot corner. But I do think he can play very well. 12 interceptions in high school. We saw that. Multiple big stops in the defensive game in there. And I think he's a very solid pick at this spot. So just to recap, the Lions will get a quarterback maybe for the future. They get an edge rusher and a corner, 2 solid pieces on that defense that they can shore up there. Now, as we move through this, we'll go through the picks and kind of talk about him. What would the Lions do in round 3? So on the board in round 3, we're going to have different areas. Now, we do know we need to go maybe wide receiver. We know we might have to go linebacker here. And where do you go with this pick? So let's look at the wide receivers on the left. We have Justin Ross still there, Alec Pierce, Khalil Shakur, John Mechie, Calvin Austin, some big players there. Now, in my opinion, Ross, I'm staying away from just because of the injuries. I'm not there. I'm going to actually draft John Mechie. Now, the computer might not like this, but I do think that he would be maybe a good benefit with Chark, with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Mechie. Mechie's fallen down the boards a little bit, but I do think that they could go wide receiver here. So I'm going to take Mechie here with the other guys on the board still. I still think wide receiver is the area to attack in round 3. Now, they do have a pick basically here in the end of the 3rd. So if we're looking at where are they going to go next? So we got a wide receiver, we got a quarterback, we got our edge. I think, looking at this, you're going to look at 2 different areas. So you either take best player available, a lot of good linemen on the board right here. One of my favorite, Kellen Dyche from Arizona State, going through there. Now, I do know that they need an edge. We know we need linebacker help on this team. So if we're looking at linebacker help, who is on the board here? Honestly, a little bit of reach is based on how the board kind of fell out. So I think I'm going to stay away from the edge position. And really, when we talked about it before, where could they go? Now, cornerback maybe again. They can look at edge again. Defensive, basically inline, looking at, hey, how does the edge rushers fills there? I think they could fill a gap there. And so for me, when I'm looking at this, I'm going to take Matthew Butler. A little bit of a reach, but big kid. 6'4", 295 can be that run-stopping defensive unit that you would like to see there. And again, you're shoring up that defensive side. Now, I definitely want to go linebacker in this next pick if he's available and just kind of shore up the Lions area too. So we have to wait a little bit. We have picks 177, so we're going to be sitting here. But again, looking at how the board falls out for the Lions, that's kind of how I picture kind of maybe this is how they do it. Maybe they go high ceiling there. Now, if we're looking at the board here, you're going to be looking at a lot of different areas here, especially at the linebacker position. And that's where I want to go. So if we're going to go to here, we're going to go to linebacker. I'm going to take Jack Sanborn, 6'2", 236 kid. I think he could fill a need for them. And just based on how the board fell out, that's kind of where I would go with that. Then looking at this is basically best player available now. Now, do they shore up their offensive line a little bit? Where do they go? I actually think they're going to take Otito. I like him from, again, another defensive player here. I'm going strong defense here with Malik Willis and those weapons now. They could just shore up that defensive side and they could compete for a title, or at least the NFC North title. Now, last pick here on the clock, I'm just going to take best offensive lineman that I could find, just in terms of, hey, maybe they can plug and play. Okay, give them a little bit of depth. I'll take Ryan Van Diemek from UConn. Now, if you're analyzing the grade, let's just take a look. They're going to hate some of my picks because they always do with PFF's mock. Now, if you look here, again, shoring up Malik Willis at that second pick. I know they gave me a D+ for that, but if he hits, it's going to be an A+. Then you have Boy Mafi, which I think is a great value pick there. Jalen Petrie is a good pick. Mechie, okay. Then we have Butler, Sanborn linebacker, another defensive line. Then you take Ryan Van Diemek at the end. Again, this is how I feel like the Lions could maybe reestablish themselves in the NFC North. Go attack it. Go win a title. That's their goal as always. But I do think that if they go Malik Willis, that's how they go. Now, just to show you kind of how the first round played out, this is how the first round went out, just so you can see it, kind of understanding kind of how it went through there. Some interesting ones, Treylon Burks at 24, Dallas. You'll see, edge rushers going to the Eagles, which I think Jermaine Johnson could be, if they could figure out a way, the Lions maybe to reach up and get Jermaine, that would be an interesting play if they got Malik and they have some draft capital. Maybe they're higher on them. But that's how my Lions mock went out. Malik Willis, Mafi Petrie, Mechie, all these guys here. Hit the comments section below. Let me know how I did. Let me know. Hey, do you like a pick? Do you not want Malik Willis there? As always, hit that sub button, that subscribe button. And always, we're going to end this with a Odds Jam ad for our new sponsor, Odds Jam. So please check them out. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.
This video is being sponsored by Odds Jam. Odds Jam is an innovative solution designed to identify odds that make you the winner every single time. They have the fastest real-time data to spot discrepancies between different sports books and help users place risk-free bets. Profits average 3% every day, which adds up to big earnings. So how does OddsJam work? Well, OddsJam processes the odds over 1 million odds a minute to find the selected few profitable betting opportunities. You as the user will then receive notifications of these opportunities in real time. Finally, you'll place your bets on multiple sports books to cover all possible outcomes. That way, no matter who wins, you do. And so, how are you ready to experience the risk-free profits for yourself? Well, what you can do is you can go to oddsjam.com, and if you use referral code TriplePlay, you'll be able to get a 7-day free trial to access this stuff for yourself. So make sure you check them out today. Now let's get back to the video.